All right, good morning. We're here on the minor guardianship docket for March 2nd. I'm Commissioner Dave Nelson. Let's take the case of guardianship of Annabelle. Ms. Morris-Teft, this was just served a few days ago, and the parents and anybody who served that shortly are entitled to have more time to respond. So I'd like to put this over a week to 2 weeks.
Your Honor, if I may, the father, the mother's not involved in the child's life, but the father is, and he's been served. He was also, we went to court on the 23rd. And so, I mean, he's had time to think about it. But as far as the mother goes, she's not involved in her child's life.
I understand that, but she was only served on February 27th. And that just does not give enough time in terms of what the court requires for either of them to file a response. So I can't make decisions today anyway. If I wait until next week or 2 weeks and they haven't done anything, then I can go ahead and make decisions because they've had enough time to respond at that point. Okay. So I think to be safe, Ms. Teft, I'd like to put this out 2 weeks. That would be to March 16th.
Okay.
Your Honor, this is Sherry Farr, the court visitor. Sorry, I just logged in and am logging in the middle of what's going on.
What I've indicated is that the parents were served on February 27th. And today is just not enough time for them to respond under the court rules. So I was going to put this out 2 weeks to see if there was a response by then.
Judge Nelson?
Yes.
Yes, and also
I have something to say. I would like to ask, as far as the response, what are the court specifically looking for? Because I felt that I've responded.
Who is this?
This is the father of Annabelle.
yes, Your Honor, and I haven't had a chance to interview the father. I intended to call him this week. I also have a question about the consent that the mother signed. Normally my duties require me to confirm with the parent that they've signed the consent, but my understanding is there's no way to get a hold of the mother.
Sorry, is that Michael Teft that I'm talking to?
Yep.
Okay. If you object to Alonzo Morris-Teft being the emergency minor guardian, then you would need to file a declaration with the court stating your reasons for that.
Yeah, so I was under the impression last time I spoke with you, that maybe my merit of what I had to say would have been enough. I mean, technically it's correct. I am still going through divorce with this woman. She has 2 children of her own. It's like you said in the last hearing, she has felony, past charges of what she's been
you ran over your baby mama and you abused and assaulted.
Ms.
And it's
Morris-Teft.
also, like I said too, she has no merit in what she's doing. She has 2 children of her own whom I've never met during the time of our marriage. Secondly, she's not the biological mother. There is no future for this to continue. It'll only be unfortunate for what she's trying to do, especially with divorce and what she's asking for. She never requested any of this in the divorce. I mentioned those divorce cases already. I've mentioned with the other mother that there's already a parenting plan. This is clearly interference.
All right, you want me to just dismiss it today because you don't think there's any merit to it, but it's there's a case that's been filed. I need to follow the correct procedures, which means if you have an opposition, I need you to file a declaration stating what that opposition is. That will likely result in a hearing before me, either 2 weeks from now or perhaps a little longer than that, where I'll determine if it's appropriate to appoint Ms. Morris Taft the guardian, and if it's not, then I won't. But now, since the case is filed, I need to go through the correct procedure on it. Okay.
Sure. So everything I mentioned today, you like to see in a declaration.
Yes.
That's it.
Okay.
All right.
Now, Ms. Morris Taft, we need you to file with the court what's called a confidential information form, which
Yeah, I was gonna
gives
do that right now.
names and addresses. So if you could take care of that, certainly by Monday, that would be good. Okay.
I'll take care of it today.
All right. Now, Ms. Farr, I guess the question I have is, how far out should we put this case?
I think 2 weeks is fine. I should be able to speak with father by then. My only concern is the issue of whether the court will accept mom's consent without my being able to confirm it.
Also, Your Honor, since Annabelle's already resigned with me, she stays with me and has been staying with me since January. I asked that she continue staying with me until the court case is over, because she's afraid to go back to her dad, and literally she's ran away. Every time she's been with him, she's run away and put herself in danger. And I just want us to avoid her putting herself in danger just because she's afraid and doesn't want to be with the father.
All right. An immediate emergency order was not entered in this case, and I'm not going to change that. If she chooses to stay with you, I guess that's up to her. But I'm not going to order that from the court's perspective at this time.
I mean, she wants to stay with me, but Michael goes and pick her up from school and just force her to go, and then that's when she puts herself in danger by running away from the community house, the homeless shelter, all the way to coming here to Kelso, to my house.
I'm not inclined to enter an order to that effect at this point. Okay. All right, let's come back then in 2 weeks. That's on March 16th. We'll see if we can have a hearing on that date regarding the emergency minor guardian, or if we need to put that hearing out to another date.
Okay, what time, March 16th?
It'll be 10:30, just like today on Zoom.
Regarding the protection order, is that still in place? The
Yeah, that is in
temporary
place.
order?
If there's a protection order in place, I'm not affecting that.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yeah.
And then one more thing is regarding Sherry Farr, I had a question.
Sure.
Has she already got to reach out to the to Alonso?
Yeah, she's already interviewed me.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious because I was informed, that she would have contacted me, but I understand if she's busy or may have been busy.
Trying to contact you, so you and her should talk as soon as possible.
Yeah. Since she is online today, would it be fine to get her ask for her number so I can just reach out to her, maybe ease the process? Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
A couple of motions, a motion for relief, a motion for attorney fees.
We're here for a review today, and is Mr. Kareem Hamur is not.
He is getting online right now.
Oh, he is. Okay. I don't see him in the waiting room.
He's logging in.
All right, let's maybe give him a couple minutes here, a couple seconds to log in. What I'm doing is watching my waiting room on Zoom. I don't see him yet. While we're waiting, let me talk to everyone on the Hebding matter. That's, I believe, Mr. Angelico, Ms. Farr, Mr. Goodday. My notes indicate that we were going to have a hearing today on whether to approve the emergency minor guardianship. Is that your understanding of where we're at on that case?
Your Honor, I wasn't expecting a hearing. We had a continuance last week for me to kind of meet with my client and kind of figure out what's going on.
Were you able to meet with your client, Mr. Gooday?
Yeah, I did. We had a good conversation. I understand, what she wants out of the case. It causes some collateral family law issues, so I was trying to reach out to a family law attorney to get some advice on that aspect of things, but
Will she be opposing the emergency minor guardianship?
yes.
Okay. How long, Mr. Gooday, do you think you'll need to prepare for a hearing on that?
Probably 2 weeks at least. I know there's the issue that she gave consent already, but I think we were wanting to withdraw that, so I don't know if that's something we can do orally on the record or if you need something in writing for that.
You may want to file something in writing so that all of the parties are aware of the reasons why she wants to withdraw it. But I don't see why we can't make that decision at the same time we go forward with the hearing.
Understood.
Mr. Angelico, do you have any comment on putting this over?
I'm the attorney for the children, Your Honor, and we were prepared today, but if it's going to be set over again, we would mention to the court Mr. South is Mr. Hebding's attorney. They're both here.
All right, Mr. South, you're probably not going to be available in a couple weeks, is that right? Or will you be able to carve out some time from
in 2 weeks? I think probably best right now, if the court allows me to withdraw and lets Mr. Hebding have new attorney appointed. And
all right, your attorney is taking a new position with the Office of Public Defense. Mr. Angelico, is that going to conflict you out of this case when Mr. South comes over?
I would have to talk to our director, Your Honor.
Okay.
It's a possibility that potentially would.
Okay. Mr. Hebding, let me ask you, so your attorney is not going to be available to represent you in a when you ultimately go to a hearing. Would it be your intent to, well, have you been appointed by the court, Mr. South?
I was, yes.
All right, so you would want the court to appoint another attorney to represent you, I assume.
Yeah, that's a correct assumption, although I believe that's going to end up being a problem.
Why is that?
Well, it's we've been waiting for months, 5-6 months to get Lindsay a court-appointed attorney that doesn't have any conflict in the case. And I'm afraid that the options there in that county may be all dried up.
Okay.
And that is true, Your Honor. It took, about 6 or 7 months to get mom appointed. And then if Mr. Angelico has to withdraw as well to find two, it's
in my case, Your Honor,
a nightmare.
My case might be a little bit different, Your Honor, because the children in this case are under the age where they can ask for an attorney. And what happened was Commissioner Cotterell, I believe, on court's motion, appointed them an attorney.
Yeah.
And at the same time appointed a guardian ad litem, which basically I think the roles are pretty consistent with each other because guardian ad litem has done the investigation. I believe she's had in the past talked with the children concerning their desire, and I'm sure can follow through with that. So I'm not sure why the office got appointed, but we did back in June of last year. We stopped doing this contract in August. The mom didn't ask for an attorney for a while, but then it was months before they could find an attorney for her.
Mr. South, given that history, it seems to me that it's a burden on everybody if we can't go forward a couple weeks from now and just have you explain to your new employer you need some time to do that.
I don't know, I'll actually be employed by them at that point, 2 weeks from now.
I understand, but you know, as attorneys, and this happened with me too, there are cases that I need to clean up, even though I've taken a different job. And so given the fact that we're going to be, you know, it may go out another few months. If
Let me check on that. I don't know what the policy is on that. Maybe Mr. Angelico might know.
Your Honor, I'm not sure we've run into that issue before, but I do know that we had an issue that Mr. South was appointed to Mr. Hebding because I believe we had a conflict with Mr. Hebding, so that's why he has Mr. South. So if Mr. South then comes to work here, employed here where we had a conflict, but Mr. Hebding, I'm not sure how that would really play out.
okay, Ms. Farr, any comment from you?
It sounds like the issues are laid out pretty clearly. I would hope that we probably could at least get the hearing in 2 weeks completed, and that's probably going to resolve most of the issues.
Maybe we could do this, Your Honor. Maybe we could come back in just 1 week, and then I'll have some answers for the court, hopefully, on my participation in this.
Mr. Goodday, do you think you'd be ready for a hearing in 1 week?
I'm not, Your Honor, I'm not talking about having a hearing in 1 week. I'm talking about
Come back for answers.
just being able to answer these questions that I don't know the answers to.
If the court wants me to try, I can try to be ready for a hearing if that's going to save a lot of headache.
Okay.
Well, Your Honor, another
ahead.
thing I just reminded me, another monkey wrench thrown here. I'm having a surgical procedure on Wednesday, and I don't know that I'll be back in the office on Thursday.
Thursday the 9th.
Yeah, I'm having surgery on the 8th. Just to make things go smoother.
All right, I'm going to set the next hearing on the 16th. I'm going to hope that Mr. South can work through any issues with the Office of Public Defense so we can go forward with the hearing. However, if Mr. South comes in and says, no, I can't do that, or I get an email from him saying, I've been assigned to district court, I got to be at hearings all morning, I don't know what will happen. Then we're kind of back to where I need to get a new attorney for Mr. Hebding. But I'm hoping we can all work together to try to get this to go forward. So let's set it for March 16th. Plan on having a hearing on that date, and we'll see what issues, if any, arise at that time. Okay.
Okay.
Just for the record, Your Honor, just the children are safe and well taken care of where they're at, and status quo should probably be good for the next 2 weeks.
I'm going to continue the immediate emergency guardianship order for the 2 weeks. Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone. Ms. Winkle. So we're on next week for a few motions. I guess the question is, and Mr. Hamir, if you want to go ahead and turn your camera on if you want. Mr. Hamir just got involved. So I guess I'm wondering if what we do today is just put this over to next week and handle, and we should decide today what we're going to address next week.
And Your Honor, that was my idea as well, since Mr. Hamir just came on, to give him a chance to respond. And also kind of identify the issues that we're going to be here on, just in case we need to file something else as well, and anything the court wants us to file by that time.
So let me just say, Ms. Winkles has filed a motion for attorney fees, I believe. So that's one thing that's on next week. I think there's a motion to terminate this guardianship.
And there's also a motion for relief filed by my client as well.
Motion for leave?
Motion for relief. Sorry, I'm a little under the weather.
And I guess, Mr. Amir, wondering if you can be ready for all of those next week, or if you're going to need additional time to prepare.
Your Honor, I'm going to need additional time.
Sure.
And I just, my client is also, Ms. Thomas has also brought a couple of other issues up over the last couple of days that I also need to address.
Okay, please.
Opposing counsel on it. No, not in front of the court. I meant just that I have to deal with.
Oh, deal with her. Okay, I'm sorry.
So, and maybe if it pleases the court, 2 to 3 weeks set over, if that's okay.
All right, I've set quite a few things on the 16th already. You just heard me set what is likely to be a trial, so I prefer putting this on to the 23rd.
That'd be great. I'd rather not be here for 2 or 3 hours if there's a trial. That'd be wonderful. How many are on the docket that morning on the 23rd? Just because I do have something in a different county later.
It may change, but I will take a look what I've got now. Right now I've got, well, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be assigned to me or not, so I can't check.
2 right now.
Oh, my clerk has indicated 2 matters.
Oh, that'll work. I'll get there in plenty of time. And Your Honor, I think it's also a GAL review, but I'm not sure if Ms. Smith has anything else to add. I think she did a full investigation, but she's here, so maybe we can also know if that's going to be on. Just so
I see this is just on for a full guardianship.
Yeah.
At this point. Ms. Smith, will March 23rd work for you to be back?
Yes, Your Honor. And just to clarify, I did do a prior full review. It was my understanding that the court wanted a supplemental review as to visitation, whether it would increase or decrease on the face of the motions that are being filed. I suspect that a more comprehensive report would be helpful to the court. So I will make every effort to have my review completed and provided to the participants in advance of the 23rd.
It sounds like that's right. If there's a motion to terminate the guardianship, I think we probably need a little closer look at it.
Understood.
Mr. Hamir, anything else?
No, Your Honor, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay, good. I'm glad you're in this case. Ms. Winkles, anything else?
No, but if just so Mr. Hamir knows, I'm ill. So if you call my office today, you might want to just wait till tomorrow. I'm at home. So if you call tomorrow.
I'm present, Your Honor.
Right. Ms. Casciato, are you here? Oh, there we are. Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're breaking up just a bit, Ms. Casciato, but hopefully we can get through this. This was a motion to clarify, I guess, a parenting plan issue dealing with the tax exemption that was an agreed order that I guess both of you agreed to and was entered. And so who wants to argue first on this?
I can probably go ahead.
Okay.
If Rebecca doesn't object.
I am not sure we have Ms. Casciato at this point. Oh, there we are. She's back. Okay.
There, sorry.
Okay, great. That's better. All right. Then, Mr. Miracle, do you want to go forward?
Sure. So we were having an issue with the wording on our parenting plan. From my memory, Rebecca Casciato was supposed to claim him last year and then me this year. And there are some issues, I guess, that she's having with me claiming him due to I owe child support. So even though I owe child support, that shouldn't stop me from being able to claim Soren or being eligible to claim him this year, as per our agreed order.
I can't see.
If if the court can take a look at the at our, I'm not sure if it's even here.
I I'm scrolling through it right now. I forgot what section that was.
Can you guys see me?
Yes.
Okay, I just was having phone technical difficulties.
I'm looking at the parenting plan final order.
I also haven't received what we're doing in court. I haven't got a copy. I talked to attorney. I was wondering if I can get a continuance. My father passed away, so I've been dealing with that. And I don't have the paperwork that Cameron's trying to serve me because I never got it. I got a pink slip in the mail that said that the day before yesterday, saying that something was sent to me by Cameron, but I haven't received anything.
Okay, I don't know that we're dealing with your case.
That's not our case.
Yeah, that's not us. That's another case.
Yeah, we're dealing with Casciato and Miracle right now.
Oh, I came at the wrong part. I'm trying to fix this. I'm so sorry.
I'll call you in just a moment. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna turn my volume on.
So, Mr. Miracle's position is that what it says under section 10, child support tax issues, allows him to claim even years, even if he's behind on child support. Ms. Casciato, do you want to respond to that?
Yeah. So back in 2020, he had claimed the child for taxes for 2019. So in 2021, I claimed the child for taxes for 2020. At the end of 2021, when we got together to do the parenting plan, we had agreed that since he had only worked a couple months out of the year and I had worked the entire year, we agreed that I would claim him that year. So 2023, this is my year to claim him because I'm claiming on the odd years, not for the odd years. He's claiming on the even years, not for the even years. So there's that. But then I don't think it's right that he's claiming a child as a financial dependent when he's not paying child support and he's not working. The child's not financially dependent on him. I mean, he's over $10,000 in debt to back child support. And he worked less than 90 days out of the year.
So what it says, petitioner shall claim child for taxes on odd years. So that what you're saying is if it's 2023, you would get the tax exemption for 2022 because you're claiming it in the odd year of 2023. Is that how you interpret that? Ms. Casciato?
Correct.
All right.
Yes.
And then in 2024, which is an even year, he would claim for 2023.
Correct.
Has the 2022 taxes been filed yet? I take it not.
She has filed her taxes already.
Yes, I did.
And you made the claim.
Yeah.
And who claimed in 2021?
Rebecca did.
I did, as per our agreement.
Per the agreement that was different than this then.
I didn't agree to that, Your Honor.
We made that agreement when we did the parenting plan because he had only worked a couple months out of the year and I had worked the entire year. So we made that agreement.
I was actually eligible to claim him that year. I did not make that promise. I don't know where that came from.
We did when we sat down inside the Safeway at Woodland to do the paperwork.
That's where we sat down and signed it, but I didn't agree to that.
You did.
All right, I'm not gonna argue that right now. I'm gonna interpret. I've got a document that was signed by both of you, so you've asked me to interpret this language. So it reads, petitioner shall claim child on taxes on odd years, respondent shall claim even years. I think that that doesn't mean in the odd year you claim for the even year. That certainly sounds overly confusing, and it's not consistent with the second clause, which says respondent shall claim for even years. So 2022 should go to Mr. Miracle, and then 2023 would go to the petitioner. The next question is, does Mr. Miracle lose his right to claim because he's behind in child support? There are a lot of orders that state that you can only claim if you're current in child support payments. This order doesn't say that. So for right now, that is not going to be something that's going to prevent Mr. Miracle from making that claim. I will indicate that because that's such a common clause, if Ms. Casciato wanted that in, you could bring a motion to amend this order and see if you could get the court to agree to it. But right now, that's not what it says. So I'm ordering that for the 2022 tax year, the tax exemption goes to Mr. Miracle, and if there needs to be some sort of paperwork done to switch it from Ms. Casciato to Mr. Miracle, that needs to be done. And then in 2023, Ms. Casciato claims. Okay. I will do a bench order to that effect. So in a couple days, there'll be an order available where you can get that from the court. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right. Good morning.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Good morning.
Ms. Taylor, were you asking for a continuance earlier?
Yes, I didn't
Or
receive.
Ms. Young, I guess. I'm sorry.
Yes, I haven't received like the paperwork itself, and so I don't know exactly what I'm going against. And I also would like to get an attorney because this has been going on for far too long. And my dad just passed away, and so I've been dealing with that this week, and I did not have time because I just got the little piece of paper in my mail the day before yesterday. And so I got to go to USPS and get the paperwork, I guess. All I got was the thing, but I didn't know that until I checked my mail.
Mr. Miller?
Can you hear me, Your Honor?
I can, yes.
Okay, so I want to put it on record that Miss Young's packet actually was delivered on February 25th at her mother's house. Her grandfather signed for it. And we're here because she hasn't been paying child support, and she wanted to take it upon herself and to collect the taxes on a child that she has not been providing for over a year.
And Your Honor,
I'm not finished.
We're not going to talk at the same time. Mr. Miller's turn. Go ahead, Mr. Miller.
In that I called all the right people, meaning like the IRS and all that, and they're doing an investigation on it because now it's tax fraud, because I have full custody of the daughter. Okay. I have full custody of her. The daughter lives with me. She goes, if you got something to say, Taylor, let's say it, because I'm not done.
So I can speak.
We're not going to talk to each other. Okay. You direct everything to me. And the question right now is whether I should put this over a week or two.
So I would ask not to, because she has been properly served.
No,
so
I haven't. My mother.
Just
oh my gosh.
Let Mr. Miller finish. Okay. And Ms. Young, if you speak out of turn again, I'm going to mute you. Okay.
She does. I have the paperwork of her grandfather signing for it. I turned that into the courts and all of that.
Okay, let me tell you, I'm going to accept it was served on February 25th. That still is not enough time for someone to respond. That's, I think, only 5 days, and that isn't enough for someone to respond. So based on that, on just that alone, I think a continuance is warranted. And you're bringing a motion for contempt. Really, nothing's going to change between now and a week from now or 2 weeks from now. So, Ms. Young, how long do you want to put this out?
I have a meeting with the cremator on Monday, but I'm meeting with an attorney next week.
Okay.
I talked to them already, and they're going to represent me because we've been doing this too long. And
okay, let's then go out 2 weeks to March 16th.
okay.
And this is usually Commissioner Cotterell's docket, but if I happen to be on this docket in 2 weeks, I will expect everybody to be ready to go forward at that time. Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right. And thank you, Mr. Miller. Here, last
thank
time
you,
we
Your Honor.
were
Have a good
here, we thought we might be agreeing to a parenting plan. Do you know where we're at in that process?
Are you talking to me or Miss Height?
Sorry, I was talking in my head anyway, thinking, Mr. Molina, I wanted to hear from you first.
Yeah, no, so unfortunately, since the last time that I was at court, like my car that I used for transportation and ended up giving up on me. I just I don't know if it was something with the motor, but it just won't stay running now. And unfortunately, I haven't been able to make it down to Longview to be able to sit down with Miss Brody, for one, for visitation, or two, to further proceed with the parenting plan together on motion as far as everything goes.
So you think that's still a possibility that you'll get an agreed parenting plan?
That's my end goal. I would like, that's what I'm trying to get at here for. But it just, as of right now, with everything going on, and now without being without a vehicle, it kind of makes things a little harder for transportation wise. You know what I'm saying? And so I can't say for sure when I'll be able to either, one, get my vehicle fixed or replace it with a new one. But if there was a way that she could come up here, or we could talk together about, something, or she could get a family member or somebody to drive her up here, we could go over a parenting plan together. That could be a way things could work. But until I get my wheels back on the road, I can't say for sure when I'll be able to.
Yeah, can I get some pain meds? Yeah, let me.
I won't be able to make it down there to, like I said, sit down with Miss Brody and make sure that we can come to an agreement, because I have a parenting plan that I have written up already. But obviously I have to have her have a copy as well and see if that's something she'd be okay with, and if not, and if so too, I have a question about that. If we can't reach an agreement on a parenting plan, what happens?
Typically we would set it for trial, and you would have a factual trial as to what each of you would like to see happen, and then the court would make a decision. Let me hear from Ms. Height.
Good morning, Your Honor. I really have nothing to add. I've kind of put a pause on this case because for the last 2 times we've been together, this promised parenting plan was going to come forward. There's really not much for me to investigate until a decision is made about what they want to do. There does not seem to be any particular, in fact, during the whole course of this case, there has not seemed to be any particular urgency to get through the process. So I'm somewhat at a loss to know what the court would like me to continue to investigate.
Well, maybe nothing right now. Let's put this over 2 weeks. I'm a little concerned that Ms. Brody is not here. It would be better if we had everybody here. But let's put it over 2 weeks to see if Mr. Molina can get an agreed parenting plan. And if not, then we're going to have to perhaps have you do an investigation at that point to get ready for a trial.
Okay, I have started one, but it sort of fizzled out when the parties got to this point. I'm hoping that, with the use of phones and mail and Zoom and so forth, they could get some kind of an agreement reached if that is really their intention. But right now I feel like I'm kind of just waiting.
Well, it sounds like it's Mr. Molina's intention, but I'm not sure what Miss Brody is wanting.
Correct. Yeah.
So, Mr. Molina, then I'll put this over for 2 weeks to March 16th at 9 o'clock.
March 16th at 9. Okay. And is there now, is there a way, like how Miss Height was saying, I mean, I could, verbally read what I have off of the phone, or maybe even do a Zoom call with Miss Brody when, because I still let her speak with her child. Would there be a way that I could just do it over the phone with her, and then by the time we come to court next month, I can either let you guys, or I mean, on the 16th, whether she agrees or not, and if she's there, she can tell you for herself. If not, I can tell you how it went, but then I don't want it to, kind of be passed off as hearsay.
Well, ultimately, you and her need to reach an agreement, and she needs to sign off on the parenting plan. So it would have to get to her. She'd have to sign it. I would not enter a parenting plan because you told me she agreed. That wouldn't work.
Right.
So I'd want both of you to sign off on it. So I'm giving you 2 weeks to negotiate that. And if you cannot negotiate it in 2 weeks, then I think we need to move forward on getting the GAL investigation, assuming that we're going to have to go to trial on it. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right. We'll see you back here in 2 weeks then. All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Ms. Hunt. Christine Latos, can you unmute yourself? Ms. Latos, your case is not on our docket today. I'm not sure when it's on next. And Ashley Beerbohr, are we able to check? And Ms. Hyde is on that case. And Mr. Hawkins is on that case. I guess I need to rely on the Mr. Hawkins as to where we're at right now. I know I changed the location for pickup when we were here last time. And I set this on to review, I think, to make sure everything was going okay. But
yeah, and I think we're just waiting on the Guardian ad litem report as to the other issues. And so I don't believe that report is ready. And I am unaware of any other issues with the current plan as you ordered last time.
Okay, Ms. Height, maybe an update on where we're at on the report.
I feel like I'm a little behind the 8 ball here. My records show that I was appointed February 2nd with the compliance review for today.
Okay.
I have nothing. I have nothing that I have investigated that I can report. I have sent out intake packets, and both parties were very cooperative to get them back. I've talked with both parties. I have meetings set up, but there's nothing that has been really truly investigated in the 1 month time since we've been together. So there we are.
Well, we just need to pick another review date that
I have, Your Honor, I have in my notes here an interim review, which I thought was what you would be expecting. I thought today was just a compliance for the fact that everybody was on board. So I apologize to the court for not having more for you. I have an interim review for April 6th in my records, if that has not changed.
And if it's a compliance review hearing, I don't expect anything other than what you told me.
Okay, so, thank you, Your Honor.
Yeah. If we leave the next review on April 6th, will that work for you, Mr. Hawkins?
That'll work for me.
Okay. I think I saw, do you represent Ashley Beerbohr or?
Yes.
Okay, so she's here. I see Mr. Beerbohr here.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Will the next review on April 6th, will that work for you?
Yes, it will.
Okay, all right, we'll see everybody back here then. Alyssa White and Joseph White, and I know Mr. South is here. All right. Ms. White is asking to reestablish visitation. I think last time I wanted her to do a hair follicle, and we ended up ordering a hair follicle from both parties, which except for THC was negative, which I think unless anybody has any comment, I'm going to assume and take to be negative. Hair follicle
Your
test.
Honor, if I may, we do take an issue with that.
Okay, go ahead.
Miss White produced information, a document that she completed, drug treatment, substance abuse treatment, but she's still using drugs apparently. It's one thing for a person to, like my client, to use a legal substance, and in a very small amount. He had a very small test positive on that. But for someone who claims to complete drug treatment and puts in a declaration that they're clean and sober, to come back with a dirty UA or dirty hair test, basically is something that the court should take into consideration here. If she says she's clean and sober, she should be clean and sober. Clean and sober doesn't mean kind of clean and sober. And that's the position she's in.
I don't see a difference between her test results and your client's test results. So tell
just
me
the results. The
quantitative. I should treat them differently.
Because she said she completed drug treatment, but she's still out using drugs. Now it may be legal, but
She's
nonetheless,
legal marijuana.
yes, but that's still a substance, and she has a problem, obviously, if she went to treatment, but she's still using. And I think the court should take that into consideration. And when she comes back with a clean test, then maybe the court can consider reestablishing this visitation. This test doesn't show for alcohol, so we don't know what she's doing there, but she is still using. It's
Ms.
like,
White, you want to respond?
Yes, Your Honor. Joseph and I have always smoked marijuana. We both have, regardless of, whatever else was happening. I mean, like, obviously, I haven't always, like, I quit when, I felt the need to, or I wanted to. It's not like I'm out robbing banks or harming people. I still work 70 hours a week, two jobs, so I help the community, I work at the warming shelter. I work at, Love Overwhelming. So I don't understand, if I work with the vulnerable public, how come I can't have visitations with my child? And why is it okay for Joseph and not myself? Like, he's had drug abuse issues himself. He has not taken care of those. I have. There's been a lot of hearsay. I've heard a lot of things about him abusing drugs, nodding out with him, and making my daughter drive. I mean, like, just different things. I'm not bringing that up though. Because
I've got a February 13th hair follicle test that essentially shows Mr. White is negative. So,
and you're right. And so I don't understand the problem. It's the same thing. He functions with that. I'm function with that. I'm not abusing or neglecting my children. I'm sorry. I'm upset right now. Yeah, it's like, it makes no sense to me how it's okay. It would be okay for him and not for me. It should be, if it's not okay for me, then it shouldn't be okay for anybody, either of us. You know what I mean? And if that's, then I don't have no problem quitting. That's no sweat off my back.
okay.
Well, Your Honor, then that's
Go ahead,
fine.
Mr. South.
She comes back with a clean test, then we can look at this again. But the order, in fact, she has to have a clean test.
Your Honor, that's incorrect because
We're not
it's
going to talk.
illegal.
We're not going to talk over each other. Okay. Let me tell you how I look at this. Both tests were identical for both parties. And it shows that they use a legal substance, THC metabolite is what came back positive. It came back the same amount for both parties. Let me just check one other thing here. Maybe.
Actually, she was about 6 times more than him.
Okay. She was at 18 and he was at 2.85. The issue here was she was to attend treatment. This was some time ago. She did that. She was due a recent drug test. She did that. There were no illegal drug. There's no illegal drug use based on that test. And the third part of her seeing the children again was to attend reunification counseling with the children. Based on this test, I'm going to go forward with the reunification counseling. And so that will need to be set up through a third-party professional to do the reunification. Let me just kind of lay out how I want this to work.
Your Honor, if I may.
Sure, Mr. White.
So the reunification counseling, I searched extensively to find a counselor that offered reunification counseling. When we were originally ordered to have reunification counseling started, and there's no one in this county that does it except for Charlotte Rosin, and she was scheduled way out. And by the time we had gone back to court, Elisa did not show up for court, so I just did not follow through with that.
Your Honor, Ann Height, Guardian Ad Litem. I'm sorry to weigh in. I hope this is inappropriate. I do know that Ms. Rosen has a new colleague in her office who is taking clients. I don't know what her time frame is, but I know that there is another person there who can help out.
What I want to happen is, and the burden's going to be on Ms. White for the most part here. So I want you to contact Charlotte Rosen's office to see if you can set up reunification counseling. Ms. White will be responsible for the cost of that counseling. And Ms. White, if you decide to not use marijuana, great. But if you decide you're going to continue to use it, you cannot use it within 8 hours of the counseling, and obviously during the counseling session. Okay. So there needs to be a window when you're not using pot. And if we get to some visitation later on, that's going to be a rule that will be involved. Okay. But right now we basically, I'm agreeing to go forward with the third prong of the what was required to reestablish visitation, which is to do the reunification counseling. I don't know how long it'll take you to set that up. Mr. White, I'm ordering you to cooperate so that if a session is set up, that you'll bring the children to the session for the reunification.
Yes, Your Honor.
With the understanding that some consideration needs to be made for Mr. White's work schedule. Okay. I'm thinking of setting this out a month so that we can see if the counseling has started, and if it started, is it going okay? And we're probably going to need to go with the reunification counseling at least 2 months before we make any other change. But it seems to me I should check in a month from now. And I think the best date to do that will be March 30th. That'll be 4 weeks.
So, Your Honor, I scheduled the appointment, and then Joseph is supposed to like take her there.
That's correct.
And if not, then
well,
because I guarantee you, like he's busy. I mean, it's going to be hard.
Well, I think what you find out
works,
is,
so
are you able to communicate through some method, texting,
as long as
email?
yes, as long as he's willing
is there
to.
a protection order in place between you? Okay.
No, but he has refused in the past to communicate with me a lot.
Mr. South, you want the communications to go through you, or are you okay with the parties communicating directly?
Yeah, that won't be possible for the communicate. I don't know if you heard, but I'm joining the Office of Public Defense.
So you'll need to communicate with each other. What I would expect would happen is Charlotte Rosen's office would give you a date or a couple dates, and before you agree to it, you would check with Mr. White to see if that would work out with his schedule. And if not, then go back and forth to figure out what works out. And as I indicated, I'm ordering that he cooperates. So if we get here a month from now on the 30th, and he's failed to show up, or it seems to be hesitant about cooperating, then we'll address that. Okay.
Great. Thank you so much, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. So we'll see everybody back here on the 30th. Does that work for you, Mr. White?
Yes, Your Honor. Is there any way we can keep the communication through text? When we talk over the phone, it doesn't turn out well.
That's fine. And the texting should only be about revolving around the reunification counseling, not any other issues. Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So let's keep it to texting. Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Okay. Do we need to order on that, Your Honor?
I will write up an order on that.
Okay.
If that helps you out, Mr. South, sounds like you're going to be wrapping up your office and,
yes,
and moving to another position. So I'll be happy to do it.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. I'll see you back
Your Honor.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you, Your Honor.